The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everyone, this is 50 Shades of Bullshit, and we talk about online dating, modern dating, and finding love. And I'm Christine, your host.
Hi, I'm Sean Dodd. I'm the co-host.
And we always appreciate Sean being here. You're so awesome, and you're really lovely to look at. So I can't pass that by.
I'm here for you.
I like it. How's your week?
Oh, it's been awesome. I've been running around with my head chopped off. I just moved into the new place. I'm settled, so I'm very excited. I've booked a trip to Vegas in May, so I'm going to go party in Vegas with a bunch of people. We got a couple concerts we're going to go to, so just all set. Getting excited.
Oh, I'm mad.
Why?
Because you didn't invite me to Vegas.
You can still come. There's plenty of time.
It's Vegas.
You just have to drive. It's like,
Woo!
what, 2 hours for you?
I will never drive anymore. That drive there is fine. It's the drive back that's the kiss of death. It's like 3.5, 4 hours to get there. It's like 60 million hours to get back. And all you want to do is kill yourself. It's like, I was supposed to go to Vegas this coming weekend. Our producer for the studio for K4HD radio, Dean, he's actually going for some seminar or something for radio and podcasts and stuff like that. And he invited me to go, but I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm too, I'm still sick and I'm still, trying to
getting through that. Oh, that sucks.
It's been over 2 weeks now, and I'm seeing a doctor tomorrow again about it. It's an infection. It's like a sinus infection. So what can I do?
My mom is a PhD, and she has a PhD in English, and she says, "Let me look at it. I'm a doctor." I'm like, "It's not the same thing. Not the same thing."
She's like, "Those are tonsils." So today we're talking with Dr. Marissa Tunis. She's talking about dating fears and anxieties. And I know I have fears and anxieties with dating. It's exhausting. I had my friend Dawn, she's like, it's called California allergies. It really is. Exactly. It sucks. But we're talking about fears and anxieties. And I think everybody in life has fears and anxieties. But then when it comes to dating or online dating, it can be kind of rough. For me, I'm going to be vulnerable here for a minute.
Oh, boy.
I know. Me when I get vulnerable.
This will be good stuff for the doctor when she comes on. She'll be able to start right in.
Right. I'm getting older. It's one of those things. And I fear that I won't find my person before I'm old. And I want to grow old with someone, not be old when I find someone. I want to enjoy like a lot of things in life, like travel and, fun things and spontaneity and lots of sex and stuff like that. But I want to have my person. It's been so long since I've had a person that really gave a shit about me, if ever. So I really, I fear that I won't find my person because, the only thing I got going for me here is there's a lot of people to online date with, but it's like, I was telling my friend today, if I date 100 people, 30% of them are wackadoodles. And I've had some really, really horrendous dates lately. And not the normal horrendous dates. We're talking extreme horrendous dates. And so that's my fear, that I'm just going to keep going through these motions and never find my person. What about you, Sean? What are your fears and anxieties?
Snakes.
Yeah. I haven't gotten into that yet. My daughter wants a freaking corn snake,
You
and
know,
she's like, ugh.
we all have fears, and you know what I've learned recently, and it's fairly recent for me. I mean, I was in the military, I was in the army as an army ranger, and I've literally faced hell and back. And you got to walk through those doors in order to test yourself. And if you, in those times, if I didn't walk through those doors, I don't know where I'd be. And
Right.
so, for me, as you look at everything anymore, and as I look over at, do I fear that? Yes. Okay. So then I have to walk through the doors, and it's through all uncomfort comes growth, is what I've always decided. And so it's time to get uncomfortable sometimes. It's time to just put myself out there. And I'm on here doing this. That's a big thing for some people.
It is.
I never would have thought I would have done a TikTok account. That was uncomfortable at that point. I mean, that was silly at my point. But here I am now, 200,000 people strong following me, and being asked to do all kinds of fun stuff. Just had a newscast reach out to me, and ran a story on me and my friend. And so there's a lot of neat things that come from walking through those doors. So I think for you can have that fear, but if you walk through the doors, eventually you're going to find the right one. It's a matter of time.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Marissa. We're going to bring her in so that she can enlighten us on some stuff.
Yes.
So we're talking to a licensed psychologist, which is awesome. Her name is Dr. Marissa Tunis, and she talks about dating coaching and relationship. She's a relationship expert, and she helps her clients heal from painful breakups, find love, and experience more joy in her life. And a really cool thing that I did with her months ago on her show, she every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, she does a live with Dr. Marissa, a show about love, dating, and mental health. And it streams on Plenty of Fish, OK Cupid, Zeus, whatever
Zeus,
that is,
yeah.
and Meet Me. And I did it with her, and it was about dating safety, and it was really cool. So let's bring in Marissa, the doctor.
Doc.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Marissa, it's really good to see your beautiful smile again.
Oh, it's great to see you. And hi, Sean. Nice to
Really
meet
good to see your beautiful smile for the first time.
you. Thank you.
So hi, Marissa. What are you going to talk to us about today? What are you doing actually these days? Are you where are you? What are your things? What's happening?
Yeah, so I'm in Los Angeles. I'm a psychologist in private practice. So I see clients remotely. I'm licensed in New York and California. So I have New York clients and California psychotherapy clients. And I'm also a dating coach. So people come to me when they encounter problems with dating. They want to have love in their lives, or they want to date and have a full experience in their dating lives, but feel stuck. So I see people who are struggling with dating as well. And I have the show on several dating apps where I talk about love and dating and how to live your best life as a single person.
I love that. I love that. Well, we're happy to have you today because we do talk a lot about different things with dating and online dating, and how to better yourself to be the right person for the person to come into your life. And I love that. And we're really excited to talk to you about fears and anxieties that people have, how to deal with them, and what do you suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was hearing you talk about your fear, and yes, and I saw that your fear was bringing up sadness.
Yeah.
Because I was just watching your face, and
Shouldn't do that.
I was imagining how freeing it would be if you were able to work through those fears and sadness and come to your dating life in a happy place, expecting that person to come into your life instead of fearing that that person won't show up.
I do manifest a lot. I am a positive thinker. I meditate. Every day I do go through life really seriously positive and excited and going, yeah, that hot, great, exciting, wonderful man is going to come into my life. And then I hit week after week after week of really horrendous, traumatic
Mhm.
dates. I
Yeah.
had one last night that was really traumatic.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then that's what, pulls me into my funk and goes, oh
Mhm.
God, stop thinking so fucking positive. They're not out there, and that's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, like get back to that good place. But
They're out
Right.
there, I promise.
There are, but what you're telling me, and what anyone tells me what I hear when anyone tells me the same thing happens over and over again, it means that you have more healing to do. It means
yeah.
that you're repeating a trauma unconsciously.
Mm.
It's not like you're choosing men who are abusive and are going to traumatize you, but this is a repeating pattern in your life. So it's saying that there's healing to do. There's work to be done, and that has showed up in my life too.
Has it?
Yeah, very much. I've been single after my divorce for many years, and I found
Oh.
myself only being attracted to commitment phobic guys because I was scared to be in a relationship because I didn't trust men. So I've been working on that, and I feel like I'm getting to the other side. But
What do you
sometimes it takes a while.
What do you think is maybe a step that you could suggest for people to help them start working on that?
hmm So there are many self-help tools. So I want to separate self-help from therapy and coaching because it's great for everyone to start with self-help, but it doesn't always get people to
Mhm.
where they need to be. So for self-help, I would suggest
Mhm.
meditation as the first thing to do. Spend 15 minutes a day clearing your mind, and magic can happen. Really, it can be
Nice.
I
magical.
agree. I
Yeah,
absolutely
you
agree.
agree?
I
Yeah,
force
I do
myself to do
too.
that every day now,
Yes.
and since then I've seen such a difference in my mindset. And
Mhm.
when I got really frustrated about relationships and the same type of thought process, I thought, okay, I am building these horrible dates I'm going through, these horrible experiences I'm having,
Mhm.
the ghosting,
Right.
everything that comes along with it. I said those are building blocks that are getting me closer to my person. And that's
Mhm.
preparing me internally to be strong enough for who my person is. And when they come, I'm going to be so much stronger because of it. So
Yeah.
that's how I've always looked at that.
That's wonderful. I recommend meditation for everyone, whether they're
Mhm.
my client or a friend, because I've seen such a dramatic improvement in my life. I
Mm,
feel like I'm luckier. I'm just a luckier person overall, luckier and happier by meditating
nice.
every day. Yeah. So I would suggest that, and a journaling practice is really helpful to get
Okay.
clear about where you're stuck and what your thoughts are, because often we have these experiences and we really don't understand why, or what our feelings are about various things. So journaling, there journaling prompts, but journaling before bedtime has actually been shown to improve your sleep.
There's
um,
his journal.
yeah, so exhausted.
Serious.
Yeah, so journal everything that's on your mind at bedtime, and that
Hmm.
will improve your sleep, likely not for everyone, but my clients who have sleep problems, insomnia, I recommend journaling at night, and then journaling in the morning, a gratitude practice. But if you're not clear, you need to get clear, and if you can't get clear with journaling, setting up an appointment with a therapist or a coach might be really helpful to understand where you're
Yeah.
stuck.
I know a
Then
good one.
you know a good one.
Yeah.
Thank
That was my
Yeah.
plug for you, Doc. You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. I know a lot of good ones. There are great therapists out there. There are also not great therapists out there. So
Mhm.
I
Yep.
really advise people to interview multiple therapists,
It's a
see
great
who you
idea.
feel comfortable with, ask about their experience, talk about what your problems are, and ask them, how have you helped clients work through these problems? I want to get to hear, how have you helped your clients get there? So you need to interview these people because they're expensive and you're going to be giving them a lot of money. However,
Yeah.
if you choose well, if you choose wisely, it's an amazing investment.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree that getting help and speaking to a professional to kind of guide you. But I also 100% agree that there are ones that are not right for everybody.
Right.
And when you hit that one and then you get frustrated because you've wasted all
Mhm.
your money and your time and you feel
Right.
like you've gone nowhere, I wish that I had known that you could interview them.
Oh, you absolutely should interview them and also ask them for a treatment plan. Ask them, when can I expect to see improvement? What would improvement look
Mm,
like? And after a few months, if you're still stuck, talk to them about it. It's been 3 or 4 months. I'm not seeing any changes. Can we try something else? And
right.
if the therapist isn't responsive or doesn't have any more tools, look elsewhere. You're not there for the therapist. A lot of people don't want to leave their therapist,
Yeah.
but there's so many more people who can help you. I just hate seeing people spend money
Yeah.
on someone who's not helping them. That's
I
one of my
agree.
pet peeves in the industry.
So tell us some of the things that you come across with fears and anxieties. Can you tell us some
Mhm.
of the things to really that people are having struggles with?
Absolutely. So we'll talk about dating, fears, and anxieties.
Hmm.
Um, I see a lot of people who have medical and mental health conditions really afraid to meet new people. A lot of stomach
Hmm.
issues, people with IBS, Crohn's, lactose intolerance, are very afraid of having a stomach episode on their dates, and their anxiety often makes it worse, or afraid to take their
Yeah.
lactate pills. I'm like, take,
I have
use
such a
it.
funny story about that.
Oh, what's your story?
I
I
want to hear this.
I come back from Iraq in 2003, and I had to eat with MREs, meals made ready to eat, and they're basically out of a bag, and it destroys your stomach. And if do
Mhm.
you remember, I think it was Along Came Polly was the name of it, where he's in the bathroom and he's doing his thing, and I'm on a date and I said this is the best time to let one out because I was dying inside because he's doing it, but he stopped doing it when mine went out, so the whole theater hears it, and I literally, you can see the shadowy figure of the person in front of me just kind of turn their head slightly and looked like that. And I was like, oh, I was so embarrassed. So it was, haven't had any issues since, but
Okay.
I'm making a joke of myself. But it was, it's true. It's after that, you've always worried since.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Great.
my gosh.
Um, so I see people who have panic disorder and they're afraid to have a panic attack on a date, but their fear of it happening could trigger the panic attack itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh, so you need to prepare. Well, if you have panic disorder, maybe taking your medication with you, talking yourself down beforehand, having tools to manage your anxieties. So if you have some symptoms, you know how to either breathe or how to use some grounding tools to get back to a more calm state. Um,
I have a friend or this woman that I met years ago. And she
mhm.
told me, I said, how did you and your husband meet? She said, we went on a date and I was in the passenger seat and I started to feel this huge wave of a panic attack coming.
Mm.
And she was like, ah, and she starts freaking out. And she says to him, I'm sorry, I'm having a panic attack. I have bad anxiety. She goes, I have to take my clothes off. And she starts taking her clothes
Okay.
off.
No way.
So
She's like,
people can have panic attacks now, guys. I'm negating the doctor. You can have a panic attack on a date if that's the answer. I'm joking.
right?
Yeah.
So
But you
she's
have to
like,
take your clothes off.
All
yeah,
right.
Right.
she's taking
You
all
have
of
to
her
take the clothes
clothes
off.
off. And she was like, I'm sorry. I just can't have any clothes on me when I'm having a panic attack. And she's like, he married me. And I was like, oh,
Aw, that's so
he
sweet.
saw you naked. Of course he
Well,
married you.
and the opposite of that, though, what I've also seen is people get so nervous inside that they have all this pent up energy, and they don't stop
Mhm.
talking, so you don't get a word in.
Yes, yes, yes. They don't stop talking, or
Yeah.
they'll talk about things like money or things they have or people they know because they feel insecure. So if you go in a more relaxed place and you're feeling good about yourself, you're less likely to fumble when you're meeting someone in real life. Um, Getting back to other things people are anxious about, people who don't have a lot of experience in relationships, people who haven't been in a relationship for many years, when they're worried someone might ask them, when was the last time you were in a relationship? And a
Ugh.
lot of clients have never been in a relationship, and so they don't know how to say that. They don't want to lie. I have clients who have never had sex, and they're very worried about dating, especially if they're in their 20s or 30s. They don't know how to broach that. So, another one, STDs. I have clients who have STDs, and there are certain ones where you have to have a discussion before you have sex. That's the responsible thing to do. So they get very anxious about dating someone new and then potentially needing to have that conversation.
Wow.
Yeah. So think about it, that there are so many things that other people are nervous about. I'm sure whatever you're nervous about, it will be okay.
I feel very minimum on my insecurities and my issues. Poor people. It makes me sad because dating in itself is hard enough. Putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, expressing yourself, but then you have to talk about all these things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's more like an interview when you're on a date anymore. It's like you have to break out your resume and slide it across the table before you even get started. But it's if for me, I just want to have fun. So anytime you can
Right.
have fun, go do an actionable thing, mini golf or something where you can still talk and interact and engage. That you're gonna have fun regardless if they're bad talkers or not.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
tell people just to go into it like they're meeting a new person and to try to learn one thing about the world or life on the date and try to just have fun and enjoy yourself. I've heard of a lot of women who interview men, like gender wise, there seems to be a split where women tend to interview men more.
Do you
Especially
think it's because of the way they say it, or it's like, oh well, I'm looking for this, this, and this. So are you this? Are you that? Or
It brings a perception though to the man that if you do not have a great job, if you do not have your stuff together, I mean these women are just so adamant about who you are as a person as far as what you have, it can make it tough.
I know. So I really advise people not to go in asking too many questions that they like canned questions, but give it a give and take where you have to be mindful of how you might be making someone feel by asking all of these questions and having empathy. Like, would I want to have to answer all of these questions? I see it a lot with women who want to have babies. They don't want to waste their time. However, dating takes time, and you have to go slowly and enjoy each other's company because you're going to scare people away by going in hard.
Yeah, I have another co-host. Her name is Gabby, and she's run into that situation. She is 37 or 38, something like that, and she's gonna kill me because I don't know. But she, has run into the fact that she wants to have children. She wants to have them, now, and she's willing to do it on her own, but she'd like to do it with a partner. So she is dating. And she feels like, if she doesn't at least ask them about it in the beginning, then she's wasting her and their time. Because one guy in one of her stories that she told on the show, lied to her and said, yeah, I'll have children with the right person. And then after he had sex with her on another date, further down the line, he then said, oh, by the way, I lied. I don't want children at all. And she was like, what? It's so, we as women do run into that. And we also run into men lying to us about what they think we want so that they can see us more or they can have sex with us first, and then off they go, so that's a big fear for women, that we're going to be used,
I think so too. And men have fears as well about, women using them for different reasons.
Mm.
And we
Mhm.
often attract people, when we have a fear of something, sometimes we actually attract it or because we want to either control it or that's what we're used to, or that's what we have
Yeah.
found attractive. And if you haven't worked through childhood stuff, maybe it has something to do with your parents because that's how it all started. So if you find
I
yourself in
agree.
patterns, there's probably work to be done.
And there's a level of comfortability in those patterns that's is the problem. It's self-consciously you're not realizing it, but you're feeling, oh, I'm really comfortable with this person because you're used to that, and that's the same pattern you've been through. So being a little
Mhm.
uncomfortable sometimes is okay.
Right, right. And giving it time, even if you don't feel chemistry with someone the first date, maybe it's because you were nervous or they
Yeah.
were nervous or they're not your type, and you weren't
Mhm.
sure. Give it another date or two.
My
See.
friend and his wife, who've been married
Mhm.
13 years now, they had one date, weren't going to have another one. He said, I'm not going to do it. But he had a friend at the time that said, you have to go on 3 dates with someone before you can say no. And he's like, no, 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 I'm not. I didn't like
Wow.
her. She didn't like me. And so he said, fine. He called her back, said, hey, let's try another one. And she said, I don't think we should see each other again after the second date. And he goes, well, I promised my friend I'd go on 3. Can we go on one more, just so I can tell my
Okay.
friend to shut up? And they went out and they had a blast the third date, and then they
Oh,
had a
wow.
fourth, and they had a fifth, and now they're married. Like I said, 13
Aw.
years. So it's pretty
Amazing.
incredible what will happen if you give it a chance.
Yeah, give it a chance. I really like that story. It illustrates how patience and being open-minded is really important in dating. And I would suggest to anyone who feels they want to interview and get their questions answered, maybe wait to the third date.
Mm.
And pressing someone, do you want to have kids? Do you
Right.
want, let them get
You'll get
comfortable.
that. You'll get that though. Literally on the chat box in Tinder, it's like, you want to have kids? Like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, nice
You're
to know you too.
scaring
What's your name again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're scaring these men off. Don't ask them if they want kids. I understand you want to know. I know you want
Right.
to know. Um,
Well, I think a lot of the dating apps have on there whether someone's interested or if they have kids already, that kind of thing.
mhm.
So they do have those. I think paying attention to that,
Yeah,
helps.
exactly. Or filtering out for that.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of women who are very anxious
Mm.
about this one facet of their lives. So it'd
Tick,
be
tick, 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 tick.
right,
That clock goes.
right. So they're preoccupied with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
I don't get on very many second or third dates. I am an empath and intuitive. I
Mm,
read people. I
yeah.
see shit early. And,
Okay.
and that's I think a problem. I'm seeing things already without just by listening sometimes even.
Mm,
And someone also wants something completely different than what I want
mhm.
by what we talk about on our first date. But I did wind up going on a third date after a course of 3 months, 4 months of getting to know this person. And that third date was really telling. He became very comfortable and he drank way too much. And I learned that
Mhm.
he's a very mean drunk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my date last night. It was
Oh, no.
traumatizing. It was bad. That's probably why I'm so depressed today.
Oh,
Not because I was sad that I'm not, gonna connect with him. He wasn't for me. Fine. But it just that negative, that awfulness. I haven't cleaned that out yet today and I should have cleaned that out already. I got my sage. I should start burning this shit in here.
Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while when we encounter a negative experience, especially when we have hopes and we're excited about something. When we're let down,
Yeah.
it can hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay if it takes a bit.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
whatever.
I know. It doesn't feel
Uh,
good.
Keep walking through
no.
the doors.
Sean's like, there's another door.
There are
You
so
know,
many doors. There are so many.
you'd be
I'm
surprised.
tired. My hands are sore. Door opening.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I must be pulling when I'm supposed to push, or I'm pushing and it's supposed to be a pull. I'm at the wrong door.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like you're finding a lot of wrong doors.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm trying. The thing is that I'm really working on me. I'm
Mhm.
thinking, let's just focus on, making this right within myself, making myself ready, doing all these things to make me a better person and more happy and,
Mhm.
satisfied with me and my life. And it is. And then I get excited about, meeting other people. And then this shit happens and
Yeah,
it's exhausting. It's really tiring.
yeah. And disheartening when you encounter someone who, becomes so inappropriate on a date.
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah, but
became
it makes a great
inappropriate and
story.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a radio show. You get to bring it
Yeah,
here.
she does you do have a radio
Um,
show.
it
Uh-huh.
was our third date. I'll see if I can make this fast. What's our time? Yeah. It was his birthday.
Hmm.
So I thought, I'll be me and I'll make him dinner because he's a cook at a restaurant, calls himself a chef. Whatever. Um which I am too. I'm a chef, private chef. Occasionally. And so I thought I'll make him dinner and we'll do a cake and we'll hang out and watch a movie and just have fun.
Mhm.
It's a third date. Who knows what could happen? And it was a disaster. He at first, the first few hours were great. He came, he was fun, we had a good time, we talked. It came down to dinner. And he was critiquing me and criticizing my dinner.
Oh, that doesn't feel good.
No. And I was like, dude, all it is pot roast, mashed potatoes, and asparagus. Who fucking cares? I
Yeah.
made dinner for you. I'm not going to go gourmet. And I was like, what's wrong with it? And he's like, oh, no, it tastes fine. But you should have done the asparagus this way. And you should have done a bigger, better presentation. I
Wow.
said, if you don't want to eat it, you do not have to fucking eat it. Excuse me while I enjoy my dinner because I'm really
Uh-huh.
damn good at pot roast. So
Uh-huh.
we had the dinner. It was annoying because he wouldn't shut up about critiquing me. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, let's just bring the cake out, get it over with. And I told him, I said, I did not bake this cake. I am a baker and I do have a
Mhm.
small baking business. I said, I did not have time to make this cake. I bought it. So if you don't like it, I bought it. Okay. I did the
Mhm.
candles. I lit it had 45 on it. He got all sweet. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This
Mhm.
is so sweet. I love you, he says.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah.
All right.
And I said,
Yeah.
no,
Must be the blue tips.
no, it is, baby.
Yeah.
It is. He said, I said, no, don't even. No, you don't know me. I
Mhm.
don't know you. This is too soon. I said,
Right,
there's
right.
such a thing as love bombing, and I'm not interested. Eat
Mhm.
your cake, blow out your candle. So he goes, oh, and he says his wish out loud, which was, ridiculous. Um, about wanting to marry me. I was like, this is fucked up. Okay, because this
Wow.
is love bombing.
Yeah, yeah.
If y'all don't know what love bombing is out there, Google it. And be aware of it. So we do this. He blows out the candle. I cut the cake. I set it down and I try it. And I'm like, it wasn't a very good cake. But I was like, happy birthday. It was the effort that matters. Here you go.
Mhm.
He says, oh, yeah. There's too much egg in this cake. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Too much egg in this cake. I go, I don't fucking care if there's too much salt in this cake. You got a cake. Your family didn't do shit for you for your birthday. Your family and friends didn't even call you. You've been crying about it for 2 hours.
Oh my
Maybe
goodness.
this is why. Maybe this is why.
Yeah.
Then he proceeded to try to get all sexy time with me and got very aggressive.
Oh man. I'm so
And I realized at this point that I hadn't been paying attention. He had drinking 2 bottles of champagne and a bottle of wine on his own. He was drunk. and he could barely walk to the bathroom. And while he was in the bathroom, he was pretending to talk on the phone with a friend.
Oh boy.
His phone was sitting on the table, so he was not. He comes out and he tries to force me to do some things. And I said no. And he starts calling me names. Then he had to walk by my bedroom to go to the bathroom. And he comes back and he's like, wow, you got a small bed there. And I said, okay. It's a California king. I don't know how that's small. And he goes on for the next 20 minutes about how he has a bigger bed than me, that he is superior than me, that bed is a queen. And I was like, I'm not arguing with this dude. I'm just not. So I just shut my mouth and he kept going. And I said, please, let's talk about something else. He would not. Please stop talking about it. He would not. I said, if you say one more thing about my fucking bed, you're out. And I should have sent him out the door sooner. But then finally I was like, dude, I'm getting you a lift, because he got a cab there or something, or a lift or something to my house. And he wouldn't let me do it. So he gets all pissed off because I literally put all of his stuff outside and said, get out, get out, get out.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, well, all of you are fucking bitches. And I said, get out of my fucking house before I call the cops, because you are now trespassing. I'm done. So I finally did get him out and sent him on his merry way, locked up, did not sleep well, woke up this morning early to take the trash out because it's trash day. And he must have come back and thrown something at one of my car windows because it's shattered.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm full of disappointment in the fact that I thought I was vetting somebody. I thought I was getting to know somebody, and then someone being so hardcore fucked up. That's difficult. So there's my story. I tried to make it fast. It was a lot. Yeah.
That's crazy.
What is it? I'm trying real hard.
That breeds craziness for sure.
So there you go. There's my fears and anxieties right there on the platter.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it was no fun.
That experience.
Yeah.
But in like 2-3 weeks, a year, whatever it is, when you're telling the story again, you're gonna laugh so hard about this. You're like, that one guy, he did this to me. What an idiot. So
well, there are a few things I left out that I was telling my girlfriend about this morning that we were laughing at because, we're catty like that. But I was like, okay, I'm okay. I know I'm okay. I'm not broken up about him or the date. It's just hard because, dating's not easy anyway.
Right.
But then to bring that into it. So, I do agree, take your time, get to know them, because it takes a while to really see what somebody's like.
I think knowing your boundaries ahead of time is one of my favorite things in the world to do, is knowing what are your boundaries. 90% of people, when you ask them that, they make it up as they go. They really don't go into it with a strong effort of understanding what their boundaries are, what they'll accept and not accept. And then what you see is the proverbial line gets drawn in the sand, and then the person crosses it, and they don't hold their boundaries. They actually back up a little bit because they're not sure of themselves, and they recreate another line. And before you know it, everything's out of control. So I always recommend to people, know what your boundaries are ahead of time. And know what you're going to do about it if that boundary is crossed, so you can react appropriately with a sound mind, because your sound mind made up those boundaries. Your unsound mind is dealing with it as it goes.
Right.
So,
right. When you're in it, you let a lot go. Then if you're not in it, I'm wondering, were there any red flags or before about him? Yeah.
I was trying to think about that because my friend was like, you should vet these guys more. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to do.
I'll vet them for you.
Thank you, Sean. From now on, I'm going to say, if you're interested in dating me, you have to go through Sean first.
Exactly.
It's my personal bodyguard. he did say that the reason why it took so long to get from the first date to the second date, because he felt like I deserved more than what he had. He really didn't have a job when I met him, and I didn't know that until I went on the first date. And he then said, I needed to get a job. I need to get my life together. I wanted to, be a better person for you. So I thought that was really awesome. So, when he was saying, yeah, my birthday's in a couple of weeks. And I said, do you have plans? He's like, no. I said, well, why don't we do something? I'll make dinner for you. We'll watch a movie, we'll hang out, or we'll go to the movies, whatever you want to do. So that seemed to be fine.
Yeah.
It's somebody's flags doesn't always happen until they let their
Yeah.
guard down. And
Right.
drinking will let their guard down, for sure.
So I always recommend not to go to a movie as a first 3 dates. You can't really get to know someone at a movie. You get to sit there and see their shadow as you watch a cool movie, but that's about it. So
True.
Yeah, it sounds like also he's probably an alcoholic or has a problem with his drinking.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
even if he doesn't actually have that, he is a bad drunk. So when he does drink, he doesn't know how to handle it. He gets insecure. His insecurities come out, and he gets mean. I did get a text from him this morning that said, "Please don't leave me," and I did not respond.
After my window, what about my window? Please, you should say, "Hey, fix my window, and then we'll talk." And then don't ghost him.
Wow, that's intense.
Very intense.
Crazy.
Isn't that
That's
awful?
really intense.
How does this guy think that's okay?
I bet he doesn't even remember he was that shit-faced.
Wow.
Good times.
Yeah, he might have blacked out when he threw something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell us, in your info that we talked about, you said you help people find their joy. So I'm interested how you guide people on finding their joy.
Well, I think it's really important to go through your fears and go through the darkness and accept the darker parts of you and not be so afraid of your darkness in order to fully embrace your light. Because we all have dark parts, we all have darkness in our lives, but when we're scared of the darkness, we stay there and we don't experience the joy that's available to us in the light. So, yeah, there's a lot of shadow work that I think is really necessary when people can't have access to joy.
Can you tell us about shadow work? Because people have mentioned that before, and I don't think anybody's ever explained that to our audience.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So we all have a shadow, like darkness. There's always light and darkness. All of us have darkness in us. We all have shadow. But a lot of us don't want to see it. We don't want to admit it. And we try to hide those dark parts of ourselves, whether it's jealousy or anger or past abuse. We don't want anyone to see it, and we often don't want to acknowledge that it's there. But it's through seeing it ourselves and acknowledging what's been dark in our lives that we're able to accept it, and it doesn't grip us. Because when we're denying negative experiences, when we're denying these things happen to us, they stay. When we can release, it's still there, but its power is not as strong over us, and then we have more access.
I get that.
Light.
I love that. Thank you for explaining that, because
welcome.
People have mentioned it, but I don't think we'd ever asked. Can you do us a favor, Marissa? In that right-hand panel for our private chat, will you put in your contact information of where people can find you, whether on Instagram, Clubhouse, Facebook, website, however you want people to contact you? Put it in there, and our producer Jason will put it up on the screen before we go. We love talking to professionals like yourself, because there are certain people that emanate this calmness and this peace, and I always feel like those are the kind of people that can teach you how to find that, or find that in yourself. And so I love that about you. I think your joy, so being able to help people find their joy, I think is probably a really good thing with you.
Well, I've done a lot of work on myself. I've been in therapy. I've worked with coaches. I've done all sorts of therapies over the years. Insight approaches, EMDR, internal family systems. I've done work with my daughter, been in couples therapy, all sorts of coaching. I'm working with a spiritual coach now to see where my blocks are.
Yes.
I've done
Nice.
like really legitimate work, some woo-woo stuff that I like love, a
Yeah.
lot of self-care. So I feel like I've gotten to a place of joy and peace in my life through looking at all the dirt and the junk.
I love that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like if you don't go through it yourself, you can't talk about it, teach about it, because
Right.
then you're not really relating and understanding and helping people be able to connect to that.
Yeah. I mean, how could I help someone with fears if I haven't, really addressed mine? And I know that, you can get over these things if I hadn't gotten over them myself. How could I be so confident in doing my work with other people?
Mhm.
Nice. I love that. So, it's a lot of food for thought.
I think
I'm
the best
processing.
therapists have the best stories. They're the ones who
Yeah,
went through the most hell,
I agree.
that's those are the ones who are most relatable. And you can say, I've been there, I've done it, and I've pulled
Yeah.
myself through it, and that's important. And I really appreciate that when I hear that from people and hear those relatable stories.
So many stories, and maybe I can tell this story and that it will make you feel better, Christine.
Yeah.
And this is something I don't think I definitely haven't shared publicly, and only a few people know
Ooh,
this.
the juice.
Yeah, and it was in my
You heard
early
it here.
20s, and I was not in a great place in my life. It
So
was
9 years ago, folks.
20 years ago.
Love it.
I was not in a great place. I wasn't being really healthy in my decisions, and I started dating this guy, and he didn't have a great relationship with drugs and alcohol, but it was pretty early, and I set a boundary. I said, I can't date you anymore. And the next morning I woke up, the door on my apartment was feces in the shape of a heart. And I had to get like hazmat team to clean it up. And I was very upset. I was very traumatized. I was scared. I was a young girl.
Wow.
Yeah. So I felt very vulnerable that there was a man who like would do something like this to me. And
Wow.
it left me shaken for quite a bit. So hearing
Wow.
that you woke up in the morning with your, the window crashed in, it reminded me of that time when
Wow.
to me.
Poop. Shit.
Poop.
He showed his bullshit real fast, didn't he?
No kidding.
That's what we're talking about.
This is why this is the name of the
This is
show.
right
Thank you,
here.
ladies, for both of us. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I just felt like I wanted to be real and share.
Yeah,
Thank you. I love that. I feel
welcome.
like it's always me sharing, and I'm like, why is my life a cow bullshit wreck?
Oh no. We all go through it.
There's-
Everybody has a story. It's just a matter of they say it or not.
Right. We all have these stories. Just some people are more vulnerable and willing to take that risk.
Well, here I am. I'm on public, airing my bullshit, hoping that it helps other people. I've been thinking about writing a book called From Survivor to Thriver, and talk about my past and talk about the trauma that I've been through in my life, to show women and young girls that no matter where you're from or what's happened to you, that you can, get
Great.
that, get through that. Marissa, our producer has not gotten your information yet.
Oh, okay. When I pull up the chat screen, it takes the screen off. So,
yeah, send that in there because we're out in like a minute and a half.
okay.
So send that. There you go. You got it now. Yeah. So I was thinking about doing a book that talks about from surviving to thriving, just to help women and men or young girls or whatever to know that there's life out there after trauma.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are running out of time, but I just want to say I'm doing a reality television show that I'm casting for, that I'm looking for women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s who want to send me into our email address a quick video of why you would be interested in being on the show, and it's called Relocate for Love. And I'd love to see why you would like to be on the show. And we're going to take women around the country and try to find them love in other places. And so we're casting for that if you want to reach out. And Marissa, thank you for being here today. You have been amazing. I would love to have you back and talk about some other things. Sean, thanks for being a great co-host always.
Love you guys.
And for everybody else out there, come back next week, same time, same place. And until then, keep it real.
Wonderful. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.